So there was a very thin facade, but it was there that Trump was supposedly going to be a pro-peace president once he got into office. That facade quickly wore off, and if you looked objectively at the decisions his administration made during the first term, you would realize that, of course, he wasn't going to be a pro-peace candidate. And obviously, we're seeing very much a continuation of his imperialist warmongering policies in this second administration, the second Trump term, greenlighting the resumption of the genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza, where I believe it was just yesterday, 400 people were murdered by the settler colonial state of Israel, 100 of those being children, some of them being literally burned alive. And then the attacks on the people in Yemen, who the administration derogatorily refers to as the Houthis, which the correct name for them is Ansar Allah. The Houthis, I learned last night, was a group in Yemen who kind of started that political movement and obviously has expanded greatly beyond them. So no, they are not the Houthis, it is Ansar Allah, and they represent a majority of the population in Yemen and have stood courageously to block the Red Sea shipping lanes, shipping containers to getting to the settler colonial state as they continue to perpetuate the genocide. They had stopped these actions during the supposed ceasefire, and under international law, they have the right to protect when this genocide is going on, which the United States claims to use that same line of logic in different interventions. Let's say Libya, when it was just completely made up to ouster the government there because they would not come under the thumb of the U.S. and Western interests. So Yemen, completely within international dictates to fight back, to stand up, to try to end the genocide by blocking shipping in the Red Sea, and they've continued to pay a huge price for doing so. And Trump is quite frankly delusional, thinking that U.S. and or Israeli or Western airstrikes on that country are going to deter them from standing up for the Palestinians and fighting back against the genocide that has resumed against the Palestinians in Gaza. I mean, for God's sakes, they already stood a multiple-year onslaught from the Saudi Arabia regime, the United States, I believe UAE as well, and they paid a huge price for that then. And again, it is a much larger area. It's a whole country, right? They have things like hypersonic missiles, which they use to, so their defensive and offensive capabilities are quite strong. So I think Trump made a huge miscalculation, and if he tries to continue to escalate things in the region toward Yemen or potentially Iran, I think he's going to start to see some real political consequences as a result of that, because once the U.S. starts to see body bags of U.S. soldiers coming home from, let's say, a ballistic missile from Yemen, or, other axis of resistance hits a U.S. carrier in the region, people are like, well, why is that there? How is that protecting the U.S.? How is that making people here safer? How is that improving our quality of life? And obviously it's a very definitive answer. It's not helping the working people in the United States. It's not improving our quality of life. It's not making us safer. It's good for the merchants of death, the Boeings, the Lockheed Martins, the Raytheons of the world, the political donor class, which obviously Trump is a part of and represents. And it's good for the apartheid state of Israel, but that's about it. So as Professor Morandi pointed out on Danny Haifong's show earlier today, I think Trump made a huge miscalculation with this escalation. Let me know what you think down below. Peace. Free Palestine.